Well, good afternoon. It's Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker, and today is the 18th Tuesday of October 2022 at approximately almost 15 minutes past 6 o'clock or 18:15 Central Time. I'm in Matthews, Missouri at the Love's Truck Stop in shower room number 3 and just had a shower and getting ready to do a shave here. And tepid water in the shower, not much better in the sink for the shave. But let me grab the equipment here, the razor, and our razor for this afternoon. Let me first say, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for joining this afternoon, and hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment if you so desire. Be politeful, respectful, and go on over to the Shaving Cadre and take a look at what they've got going on. Make an account, it's free. Join in the conversation, participate in the activities, and I think you'll have a lot of fun just like I do. For our razor this evening, we're using the Blue Steel Special, American Steel. It's got replacement scales on it. Whomever I bought it from apparently did this. It's got a reddish wedge in there and that's kind of unique and handsome. And so, nice example of American steel. The blade has been polished. You can see where it's been rubbed, and there's a little bit of pitting and so forth. Anyway, and for our brush, we're using QED Select Manchurian Silvertip Badger 24 millimeter in faux horn. It's a pretty little brush, a little small for my big hand, the handle that is. It's got some nice grooves here where you can grip it fairly well. I'm going to put that back in the water. And so you saw the red garnet from last week. This is the other one that's small. So those are the two small ones. For the soap, this afternoon we're using Stirling Soap Company Deep Blue Sea. And I've used it once or twice at home over the last couple of months. It's a lovely soap. It's another example of an aquatic scent, oceanic scent. And nothing wrong with that. I've got 4 or 5 now, aquatic scents, and they're quite Stirling Soap Company, this Deep Blue Sea. I've got one from Zingari Man. I've got another, I believe, from A&E. Barrister and Mayan, I think, is the other, and they're all just quite lovely examples of that aquatic. Oh, Angora soap, Olympus, which was actually the very first one I ever got. I got that at the recommendation when he first got it of Anthony Esposito, and I don't know if it's a well-known maker. They don't make a lot of soaps. I've been to their website a few times since I bought what I've got of them, and the other 2 or 3 that I've got, well, I won't go into that right now. We're going to focus on Deep Blue Sea. It smells just nice, really nice, I should say. Let's get this thing whipped up big on this little 24 millimeter soap. All right, that's what I got left. I'm gonna wipe this all up and put it on my face. Very creamy. So I got a late start yesterday. Oh, by the way, I've got about 36 hours of growth on my face. And as I said yesterday morning, the load time was at 12 noon on that load that I'm going to back into Ontario, Canada with. And I said and where it was getting loaded, I fully expected it to get back to the yard between 3 and 4 o'clock, and sure enough, right on the dot of 4 o'clock, the driver come rolling in with the trailer, and I was parked up front with the tractor in my tractor. When I say up front, I mean up by the entry and exit gate, so I could watch and wait. Not like they're going to call you and say, "It's here." No. And sometimes you can head off the driver if you have a mind to and just say, "Hey, just drop it right there. Don't try and park it. Just drop the trailer, I'll hook and go." But no, the driver went ahead and parked it. And so I got out of there, I got hooked and out. By the time I paid, we're training our dispatch office is training a couple of new dispatchers. We've had 3 leave us recently. And most of the dispatchers, the average is well, let me put it this way. There's always a certain number, regrettably, that they come in, they see the kind of work it is, and they don't come back the second, third. By the end of the first week, they don't come back. And then we got the others that do stick around, and they'll stay for 3, 4 years, 2, 3, 4 years. And one of the ones that recently left was there for quite a number of years. It was sad to see her go, because she knew everybody and she knew how the systems work and knew what everybody liked, and there just wasn't any hassle. When she called you with a load, it was going to be one of the loads that you like to go on, because that's the way she did things. Anyway, so left the yard, got out of the gate at right at 5 o'clock. Right at 5, I'm going to turn this fan off. I don't want it to, so it's right here above my head. It is a full hollow. I'm sure you heard it singing there as I was coming down the side of my face. So, and I needed to go. It's not like I could have laid over on the yard and left this morning for delivery on Friday morning. I really needed to get out of there and go last night, at least to Shreveport, and that's 4.5 hours out of from where I usually park, the Love's truck stop in Greenwood. But at that hour, I got in about 9 o'clock, and I would have bet the farm that if I had gone to the Love's, I would have been wasting my time and not able to find a place to park. So there's a about 2 miles before you get to Greenwood, Louisiana. On the same highway, about 2 miles south, there's a little country truck stop there. It's got enough room for about 100 trucks. So I rolled in there at 9 o'clock. And so because of the time that I stopped last night at about 9 o'clock, hours of service, DOT hours of service, I've got to take my minimum of 10-hour break, which means I couldn't get rolling until it was 10 minutes after 7 is what my clock said. So I set my clock for 6 o'clock. So I was out of bed and did my morning routine, squared away my bunk. And I got rolling at about 12 minutes past 7 this morning. And so, for those of you that might like to keep up with my routing, now that Love's Truck Stop in Greenwood sits, and that's not where I parked. I parked 2 miles south of there, but you come in right by it. Comes right in at Interstate 20 at Greenwood at exit 3. And so I got on Interstate 20 eastbound, went about 7 miles, I believe it is, to the loop around to the north, 220. And that merges with the new interstate that went in about 3 years ago. It goes north to Texarkana and picks up I-30. Onto Little Rock. at Little Rock, picked up the loop around Little Rock, 440, and that's where I-40 comes in and merges with that loop. And I never use I-40 between Little Rock and West Memphis. It's a death trap, and I will never travel it unless I just absolutely have to. So I go on north, and the loop around 440 becomes Arkansas 440, and it merges in with US 67 and goes north through North Little Rock, Jacksonville, Searcy. You get on way up out in the country. Now, if you stay on that 67, it'll take you Arnold, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. But you exit off on that on Arkansas 224 to the east, and that'll take you right into Jonesboro. I stopped at the Loves at Jonesboro for my mandatory DOT 30-minute break. And then when you come out of the truck stop, the next exit to the east is, used to be called Commerce. They've changed it to Martin Luther King Boulevard. And you go north, it's just a little 2-lane stretch of about 3/4 of a mile. That hooks you up with Arkansas 18. And that'll take you all the way to Blytheville, where you pick up Interstate 55 and come north. Did I say I'm in Matthews, Missouri tonight? I think I did. At the Love's truck stop. I didn't make it to Ina, and here's why. About an hour before I got to Jonesboro, I had an email from my terminal manager. Every Tuesday we do a safety video, what they call it, just a safety meeting. It's a Zoom, and whatever the Microsoft equivalent of Zoom is, that's what we use. And we have them every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Central Time, and you're required to take one once a quarter. And we have other things that we've got to do within the quarter by way of computer-based training, and we can do that at home or at the terminal or out on the road in our trucks with our electronic devices. And there's usually 4, 5, 6 of these 30 to 45 minute long videos that we have to watch that have a graded quiz at the end that we're required to do and pass with a minimum of 80%. But nonetheless, so one of these safety meetings, and I thought to myself, now what would happen if I go ahead and stop at 2 o'clock, or I actually got in there about 1:30 for my 30-minute break, and I would have been released to go at 2 o'clock from that 30-minute break, right when the safety meeting was starting, and they usually last an hour, so that would have taken me to 3 o'clock. And I said, what would have happened if I stopped for the hour and a half, take my 30-minute break, do the hour safety meeting? How bad is that going to hurt me getting, because my goal is to be at the Flying J truck stop in London by Thursday, sometime on Thursday. Early, noonish. By the way, this Edge was finished Shapton glass 30,000, and I can tell it's quite sharp, almost intimidating. And so I'm approximately just a little over 2 hours from Ina, so I lost 2 hours by making that stop. But the good news is I don't have to be to Capac, Michigan on the border at Port Huron tomorrow. I don't, because from there it's only 2 hours over to the Flying J at London. Well, if it's only 2 hours over there for Thursday arrival, you know, I can, you know, it's kind of like I'm in the catbird seat right now, because and I did the mileage check and the time check. I'm approximately 7 hours from Angola, Indiana, which would put me approximately 4.5 hours to London for Thursday. And if I want to go the extra hour up to Marshall, Michigan, that cuts my time commensurately. Which, by the way, that's what I'm going to do, is 7 hours to Angola, 8 hours to Marshall, Michigan, and that'll put me about 3 hours, 3.5 to 4 hours from London for Thursday for delivery on Friday morning at 0700, which is 40 miles to the southeast, a little place called Tillersonburg. Normally they don't like us talking about where our deliveries are going to be before we make them. And that's a good rule of thumb for general truck driving, because, you know, those Best Buy trucks carry millions of dollars worth of electronics. I bet you didn't know that. Yes, you did. theft of hazmat chemical and tankers is not a high priority for thieves, as I understand the statistics. And I've asked my primary safety manager about that. He said, "No." I said, "When's the last time we ever had a truck stolen?" "Never." What are you going to do with a tank load of acrylic acid? I just, who wants that stuff? I mean, I know who wants it and why, but not black market tears. So that's kind of what I'm up to and where I'm at and where I'm going, and so I made that change in my schedule to stop here. I'll get on to Angola or Marshall tomorrow. And I'm none the worse for wear on time. I haven't hurt myself. Let's go into something else I want to talk about, and that is this product that I'm hauling. Don't ask me to pronounce the name of it or tell you what it does or what it's about. I have no idea. I don't have to know. The good news is that it's not a placarded hazmat chemical. It is a safe, environmentally safe chemical with no hazards, no restrictions. Not that I'd want to plunge my face into it. But it is temperature controlled. It requires a delivery temperature of 120 degrees. And when I hooked up to the trailer, the product, and remember, they just got back from the preload driver had just gotten back from loading it. It was when I hooked to it at 4 o'clock or so yesterday, it was at 132 degrees temperature. Okay, good. That's over 120. That's all I care about. I did when I hooked up to it, I did take the trailer by the shop and have them check the in-transit heat system, make sure that it was charged and loaded with antifreeze, which it was not. And so they had to take care of that. But that, all in all, that don't take but about 15, 20 minutes to take care of that. Shop manager took care of it. He's been there forever. He's a good guy. When I got stopped last night, it had dropped to 128 degrees. When I got up this morning, it had dropped to about 124 degrees. I checked it when I got fuel at Jonesboro, and it had dropped to 120 degrees. It's been a cool day too. between 50 and 60 degrees most of the day today. And when I got stopped here, it had made, of course, it's only an hour and a half drive from Jonesboro to Matthews, Missouri. And so I turned on the in-transit heat system and started the antifreeze flowing between the radiator of my truck, the reservoir, and the trailer. There's hoses that connect all that up. And it's not a big deal to do all that, as long as the connections aren't rusty. Never turn on a in-transit heat system. Now the maximum temperature that my in-transit heat system will put out is 118 to 120. So I'm right there at my maximum. But it will maintain 120, 118 to 120. And we're gonna find out. It's been a long time since I run it like that. Well, since last winter, I'm sure. Never turn on your in-transit heat system to a product where the product temperature in the trailer is warmer than what you know your tractor can put out. Because the only thing that's going to do is draw the product temperature in the trailer down to your output faster. It won't maintain what's in the trailer. If you're at 125, it'll draw it down to 120 real quick. If you're at 130, it'll draw it down to 120 real quick. And so there's no advantage to turning it on early. Let it just draw itself down. No, this soap smells fine, great, just like you would expect it to for a Stirling Soap Company soap. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? And I appreciate you guys asking me about life on the road and how do I do this, how do I do that. Which I'll be happy to tell you more if you want to know. Now, when I ordered a shower tonight, when I got here, and I was all stropped up and packed up and ready to come in, didn't have to wait. There were two or three showers open and available when I pressed the button on the app. And this has worked real nice since they automated it with the app a year or two ago. Before you'd have to come in, get a ticket, stand in line, wait in the store till they called your number, which was ridiculous. They had no place for you to sit. People standing and huddled all around the cash register, what they call the diesel desk. There's a little monitor. The monitor's still there and active. Everybody just orders their showers from the phone and sits in the truck. Sit and wait in the truck till your shower's ready. I like that. By and large, it's not that truckers are lazy. Some might think they are. But we don't like unnecessary movement. And it better be necessary to get us to move out of that truck. And most truck drivers that run long haul, all we want to do is sit in the truck. It almost becomes ingrained in us. So far, the soap hasn't really broken down when I rehydrated it. It's held. Now, it's not as thick as some of the other Stirling Soap Company soaps, but it's holding up its creaminess real well, even with my regular dipping the tips into the water. I can tell you that this blade, 30,000 Shapton glass, is sharp. And I got a good shave going on as far as I'm concerned. Well, indeed, somebody got the memo here that winter's coming. The heat, they got the heat furnace on here, and it's just rolling. Maybe that's why the showers weren't so hot. When I'm holding the razor this way and I'm coming across like that, my fingers act as a guard to the lather getting up in the pin. And so when I get done doing that stroke, here, let's see if I can. Well, you'll see where the lather's gotten up on my thumb there. And sometimes it'll get on the shank a little bit, and that's okay. As long as it didn't, it's not going to get so far back as the pin, however. So some of the fun and games that we have over at the Shaving Cadre, I've mentioned the Zoom call before that I like to participate in. And every year apparently, this is my first Christmas, maybe, I don't remember when it was in December I think when I joined last year. But they're doing a secret gift exchange. There's a name for it, and I don't remember the name, but we got our assignments yesterday, and there's rules that you got to follow, you know. But they're all, you know, that's okay. There's always got to be rules. Yeah, that's better. Right there. Apparently the whiskers are going this way. This would be against the grain. So when I go like that and make that round on the chin, make that corner on the chin, that's against the grain underneath. And that's always been a problem area for me. So we're doing a secret gift exchange, and we're allowed to, and there's a guy that's moderating it. He calls himself Rudolph, and we're allowed to ask him questions about our recipient, because especially newer guys like me, we don't know the guys as well as maybe those that have been on there for years. And of course that's part of it, that happens. So I got my answers back on my questions that I asked Rudolph about my recipient, and I know his name and his address. And then somebody else, of course, got me. I'm trying to be extra delicate right there because I know that this razor is, with that square point on there, is just super, and it's super sharp. And I don't want to tear up my nose any more than I usually do. Okay. All right, let's rinse this thing down. Do our final touch-ups and move on to the head shave. I'll probably break the clippers out. Friday night or Saturday night after I've made delivery and gotten back into the US, either at K-Pac or Angola, on the way back in. I found out that this trailer is a dedicated trailer, which means there will be no secondary load. I could see myself maybe getting loaded in Cincinnati or Chicago and bringing it points south after that, but that's not going to happen. When you have a dedicated trailer, it's dedicated to that product. Putting some alum on my fingers. Let's see. That feels pretty good. I nicked myself somewhere. Got a little blood on the blade. All right, I think that will do for the face shave, and we'll wipe the blade off. We're using what's called a blue steel special. That's the only information that is imprinted on the tang. So that's all I can tell you about that. I've been informed that this is an American-made blade. When I saw this on the eBay, I'll tell you who I called. It was, this goes back to 2016, maybe 17. And it was a GS6 gun out of Idaho that I called. He advised me a lot on early purchases, particularly eBay purchases. And, whoops, what am I doing? That was totally unnecessary. Let's go up here with it. Wetted my head. Oh, there was a oops moment. We got that on tape too. There's a blooper. Plenty of soap in the brush, getting good action with it, as you can see. Anyway, yeah, I called him many a time on consultation for, you know, what do you think about this? And it was he that told me that this was an American-made, very high-quality razor, high-quality steel, American-made, etc. So, put a bid on it. You know, a lot of the early, and even up to just a few years ago, I've been able to find blades that were and are in just near mint-like condition, just beautiful, perfect. Yes, you can tell they've been polished and they got some pitting and et cetera, but by and large, they just have all been. And then I ran across, I've got 3 or 4 blades that are vintage. We're using the gold dollar, what's that called? Shave Club, Gold Dollar Shave Club 2017 that you see there, in form and fashion of an old Wade & Butcher. It's a full hollow. And this was sharpened up on the, I think it was, I don't remember. It was either the Shapton Glass 30, because early on this was a problem child. I couldn't seem to get it sharp enough to shave my face, but it was doing just beautifully on my head. Go figure. It seems to me I've done a lot of work with, if I'm remembering correctly, on the Zulu Gray dry with this as well. But it gives me just a wonderful shave on my head. Not so much on the, or at least I haven't tried it on my face in a long time. Back in the day where I had more gold dollars than I had much of anything else, which ain't true today. Gold dollars and union razors have largely been relegated to the status of practice razor, practice honing, and head shaving, which is fine. I mean, as many blades as I've got, do I want to use a $12 razor on my face when I can use, you know, a $500 razor on my face that I've got? Everything's choices, everything is priorities. What is a priority today? I was asked about the razors that I've got coming up in my 7-day roll-up for this trip, and I've got a Frederick Reynolds wedge coming up. What else have I got coming up? Let me shout out to all my shaving cadre compatriots, Handle Barber Dave and Major Rich and Nurse Dave and Bill M, the Cutthroat Journey, Shooting the Shave, and Lukey 3262, and we'll stop there because I don't want to belabor. I'm already an hour and 8 minutes, and I usually get those guys, and I want to make mention of them because they make, well, Barber Dave and all of them that I've mentioned make good to excellent content for YouTube and the Shaving Cadre. And yeah, Okay, let's get that squared off and do the back of the neck and we'll be done. I had a nice big lunch today while I was stopped in Jonesboro, so I will probably have little or nothing for dinner tonight. I had a breakfast burrito that my wife makes for me for breakfast this morning. And you know, everything's about time and convenience, time and speed. When you're a truck driver, you got to eat quick, you got to sleep quick, you got to have your, I'm not going to say it. You got to have your act together, might say. Because everything's about, once you're on the clock, even when you're off the clock, everything is about time. Your 10-hour break, sleeper berth, 11 hours driving, 14 hours on duty. How are you managing your time? What are you doing? And so all those things are very important. And so you work in things like this, shaving with a straight razor, because it's a priority. You want to get it done. And if you play your, you know, I know guys that are runners, marathon runners, and they go run 5 miles. On their 10-hour break before they, you know, take a shower and go get something to eat. They'll go run 5 miles. Now, I'm not a runner, haven't been since high school. It is getting warm in here. Nice straight line. You see that line right there? That's a nice straight line. Good. Nice straight line there too. I haven't cut my head in a long time, but back here on this corner right here is a place that I used to have difficulty, and you know, you just got to slow things down, less pressure, angle. Yep, that feels real good. All right, let's do a against the grain pass on the head real quick. Don't take about a minute. I say against the grain, we go from back to front, is all. And I do this largely, yes, I'm looking to smooth the follicles, but I'm also doing this a lot, especially for this forward forehead area. I'm doing this for the exfoliation. Okay, there's that. Got one of those annoying banners that popped up. I know I can shut them off, but okay. Oh yeah, that just feels great. Feels great. All right, we are done. I want to thank you for staying with me this long. We use the Blue Steel Special. We use the Gold Dollar Shape Club 2017 on the head. I'm going to throw some Osma block on here in alum block. We use the Shapton Deep Blue Sea shade soap, and we use the QED Select Manchurian Silvertip Badger 24 millimeter in faux horn. Got to wash that out, and that's it. And I want to thank you for staying with me. We're an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, you know, run at 3 times the speed. I don't care. So we'll see you down the road. Bye.